During the last 24 hours, Russian troops destroyed or damaged 60 buildings in the Donetsk region. Another school has been ruined in Vuhledar. The Ukrainian anti-aircraft defense managed to knock down Russian missiles heading for Khmelnytsky and Zolochiv in the Lviv region. We are dealing with absolute evil, and we have no choice but to move on and liberate our territories, displace the occupiers from all our districts. And despite the fact that the front is already over 2,500 kilometers long, we feel that the strategic initiative is on our side. We will return to all our cities. Hersonia, Melitopol, Mariupol, and Energodar, we will return to our villages. We will rebuild everything that was demolished by the occupiers, from Volnovakhy to Chortkov, because this is Ukraine and it is our role to regain and strengthen it. Soldiers are fighting at the front, and police and other service officers do not leave the cities. They provide the inhabitants with humanitarian aid and help in evacuation. We thank the police for helping to transport people. There are no other possibilities to leave today. Evacuation buses cannot reach us. Under the bullets, the police take out a few people on their own. Although most of the Severodonetsk area is already in the hands of the Russians, fierce street fighting is still taking place there. Due to the increased shelling, the third bridge was ruined, but the city is not cut off. There are still ways to get to the city, quite difficult, but there are. Cities are still defended by our armed forces, although the conditions are very difficult. About 550 people have taken refuge at the Azot factory, and soldiers and the police are trying to help them. There are still food supplies there, but the Russians are destroying the factory buildings completely. Since the beginning of the invasion of Ukraine, Russia has already lost 32,500 soldiers, over 3,500 armored combat vehicles, and 213 aircraft. Harvest is set to begin in the southeastern part of Ukraine in a week's time. In the present war conditions, it will be an extremely difficult challenge for both farmers and the authorities. I am concerned about many issues. War is an obstacle to our normal work. The ongoing blockade of seaports prevents the sale of the grain we have collected. 70% of grain exports went through seaports. In addition, combine operators are afraid to work because of the ongoing combat operations. Delivery is also a big problem, as it is difficult to transport grain from the field to silos or ports under the current conditions. There is also a shortage of fuel, and it is very expensive. We are working on solving the issue of round-the-clock work in the fields under martial law and the curfew. We compile a list of people so that they can work and transport grain from the fields as soon as possible. Every day, evidence of the bestiality of the Russian occupiers is uncovered in Ukraine. Another mass grave was found in the forest near Bucha, near Kiev. The first grave has already been examined by experts. They are men around 40 years old in civilian clothes. One has shot through knees, the other shot through temple. In the second one, bodies were found that also had shot through knees and heads. The bodies of 3 people are still there, but have not been examined. Later this week, the Ukraine prosecutor's office is to start creating an information system, the so-called Book of Executioners, in which the data of the Russian military responsible for war crimes will be published.